What up, though? This Lil Ant Beats back with another video for y'all. Tonight, I got something a little different again. Me and my partner, DJ Energy, over at I Create Digital, we got a graphic novel that we're working on. It's going to be coming soon on the YouTube platform. I want to play a chapter for y'all tonight. I did all the music. I think it's dope. I think it's pretty dope. I think y'all gonna like it. But like I always say, hit me up in them comments and let me know what you think. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Turn your notifications on so you know when I'm dropping. And hit the link, hit the description for all my links to all my music that's streaming, my BeatStars page, and any other of my social media. I got my link tree up in there also. Um and what y'all I didn't really get a lot of feedback from the last video. Was y'all feeling well? One person gave a feedback. Shout out to Custom Creations. That thanks for the feedback, bro. That's my partner, DJ Energy. That's who did my intro, the graphics for my intro and my outro. And he doing the graphics and also writing the the script for our graphic novel. And he doing all the graphics and I'm doing the music. So let me know what y'all think.
Chapter 1: The Message.
The news exploded across the globe like a supernova, shattering the calm of the digital age with its blinding brilliance. For 3 days, the collective gaze of humanity was fixed upon the heavens, where an alien starship hovered in the dazzling, cerulean skies above Egypt. The craft remained steadfast over the ancient Sphinx, its hull alive with a pulsating tapestry of lights and geometric patterns that seemed to dance with sentient life. Every media channel buzzed with frantic speculation. Cameras captured the colossal vessel from every conceivable angle. This starship, unlike anything ever imagined by humanity, looked like a gleaming triangular slice of obsidian that pulsed with an energy so alien, so otherworldly, it sent shivers down the spine of the earth. Its presence, all at once awe-inspiring and terrifying, cast an immense shadow over the desert, cloaking the Sphinx in a shroud of cosmic mystery. The long-standing debate about the existence of extraterrestrial life had been unequivocally settled, and the weight of this revelation caused the entire world to hold its breath in anticipation. Without warning, the ship began to rise, ascending to a higher altitude as it rotated westward. After a brief pause, it shot off at a moderate speed, leaving the people who had gathered at the Sphinx speechless. Seconds stretched into eternity as the enigmatic craft continued its journey, leaving behind a trail of bewilderment. Finally, it slowed and came to a halt above the sun-drenched expanse of Mali, to hover above the cliff city of the Dogon people. The anticipation among humanity reached a fevered pitch as the world braced for the next revelation. Suddenly, the colossal doors of the craft began to creak open, and a hush fell over the globe. The planet's collective heartbeat quickened as every eye remained glued to their screens, every mind contemplating the unimaginable. Whatever emerged from that ship would forever alter the course of human history. Were these visitors harbingers of doom or bearers of enlightenment? The question hung in the air heavy and unanswerable, as the world, for perhaps the first time in history, thought as one. Finally, in what seemed like a slow-motion scene from a film, the alien stepped out from the craft's recesses into the warm African sunlight. A shockwave rippled through humanity as the being emerged, revealing a humanoid figure bearing a striking resemblance to an African man. Its skin, a deep, rich ebony, shimmered under the sun's rays. Though humanoid, the being towered over the tallest human, standing between 3.5 to 4 meters in height. Its attire was unlike anything ever seen. It wore a form-fitting techno-bodysuit that accentuated its muscular frame and a billowing cloak that exuded a sense of regal authority. The only familiar element of its clothing was a leopard skin garment, draped around its waist, like an apron, which silently hinted at a previous encounter between humanity and this celestial visitor. With the bearing of a conqueror, the alien stepped forward, each footfall deliberate and thoughtful, until it stood in full view of the world. Its elegance and refined energy gave it the aura of a king, its expression unreadable but brimming with purpose. After standing motionless on the ship's surface for what felt like an eternity, the alien turned and disappeared back into the ship. The question of its appearance had been answered. Now, the question remained: what had it come to do? Moments later, every screen on the planet, televisions, phones, and computer monitors, flickered out of focus only to refocus on an image of the alien standing on what appeared to be the bridge of its ship. The world held its breath as the being spoke, its voice resonating like a deep melodic hum carrying the vibrations of countless stars and civilizations. No sound emanated from a speaker. Instead, the words bypassed the ears and resonated directly within the minds of all of those watching. The being could be perfectly understood by all, despite the absence of any earthly language.
I am Yasir, son of Amma, son of Anta'a. I have returned from the stars and seek an audience with the Hogan of the Dogon people.
The world's leaders and their representatives, who had been in constant conference since the craft's arrival, exchanged nervous glances. Some questioned the alien's intentions, while others scrambled to understand the significance of its request. The leaders, slack-jawed in disbelief, stared at their screens, unable to comprehend the enormity of what was unfolding. Yasir's gaze remained steady and unyielding as he awaited a response. The President of the United States was the first to speak, his voice tinged with authority and bewilderment.
You said you returned from the stars. Are you from here? And why the Hogan?
He asked, his voice carrying a mix of curiosity and disbelief.
We are the world powers. We are the most advanced. Why not speak to us directly? What knowledge could they possess that we don't?
A hint of a smirk played at the corners of Yasir's lips.
The descendants of the Yurugu are just as arrogant and incredulous as their ancestors.
He mused silently. Then, fixing his luminous gaze on the U.S. president, he replied,
I am from an earth of eons past. As for your second question, the Hogan holds the key to the wisdom of the ages.
Yasir's eyes gleamed with a fierce intensity as he leaned forward, his voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper.
The people known to you as the Dogon are the keepers of a profound understanding, one that was given to them to protect from those who would misuse its power.
The air in the room thickened with tension, as if reality itself hung on Yasir's next words.
These people are the direct descendants of genetically created beings who became the progenitors of the humans on this planet, those who were designed by the Nomo to serve their creators. The first among those who would become the Dogon were chosen for their wisdom and resilience, their intellectual and spiritual maturity, making them perfect vessels for knowledge far beyond the comprehension of their time.
His gaze sharpened, cutting through the doubt that lingered in the air.
This knowledge is not merely a map of the stars or an understanding of celestial bodies. It is a key to the very structure of the universe, a secret that could alter the course of existence itself. The Dogon have guarded this knowledge through the ages, hidden in rituals, myths, dances, and symbols, waiting for the moment when the world is ready to understand. Before I reveal my purpose to your world, I must first commune with the Great One, the one who understands that the secrets of the stars and the earth are one.
The room fell into stunned silence. The world's most powerful individuals, armed with the best technology and intelligence, suddenly found themselves irrelevant in the face of this being's inscrutable logic. The request was not merely a matter of protocol. It was a declaration that true power lay not in modern might, but in ancient wisdom. The representatives hesitated, grappling with the implications. To deny the alien's request could mean forfeiting the knowledge it might share with the world, a knowledge that could possibly change the course of human history. But to grant it, to bring forth the Hogun, was to acknowledge that the long-held belief in Western superiority was a fallacy, and that there existed a deeper connection between the past and the present, a connection that the world had long overlooked. Finally, the Secretary-General of the United Nations, his voice heavy with the weight of the decision, spoke up.
We will bring the Hogun to you, and once you have spoken with him, will you share your purpose here with us all?
The alien inclined his head, a gesture that conveyed both assent and an unspoken promise.
After I speak with the Hogun, the purpose of my arrival will be made clear to all the world. Until then, prepare yourselves for what is to come.
3 hours later, the Hogun of the Dogon tribe arrived escorted by elders who moved with ceremonial reverence. Their steps were deliberate as they guided the Hogun to the center of the room. Clad in traditional robes of deep indigo, the Hogun exuded a quiet, ancient authority. His face, lined with the wisdom of countless years, remained calm as he approached Yasir. The world's leaders who had spent their lives commanding armies, economies, and nations now felt like mere spectators in a drama far older and grander than they could have ever imagined. Yasir, a being of unimaginable technological and physical prowess, then performed an act that no one had anticipated. He prostrated himself before the Hogun, bowing so low that his forehead touched the feet of the spiritual leader. The once imposing form bent in humility seemed to shrink in the presence of the Hogun. In a voice that resonated with profound respect, Yasir spoke in an ancient Dogon dialect, a language that carried the weight of eons of transmission passed down through countless generations by those who had guarded its secrets.
Great Hogun, I have traveled across the stars to stand before you, keeper of the sacred knowledge. I seek your permission to address the leaders of this world and share with them the dire truth that I carry. It is only with your blessing that I can reveal what is to come.
The Hogun gazed at Yasir for what felt like endless moments, his expression calm and serious. Then, at last, he lifted his hand in a gesture of blessing, his voice unwavering, as he replied,
You have my blessing, son of Amma, son of Antar-A, greatest of the Dogon, traveler from the stars. Share your truth with the world.
Yasir slowly rose to his full height as his gaze swept across the assembly of the world's leaders.
Listen well, for what I reveal now will forever alter your understanding of the universe and your place within it.
The air in the room seemed to hum with a newfound intensity. Yasir's voice boomed through the chamber without the aid of technology, but by the sheer power of his voice.
I come with a warning of an ancient enemy, one that existed before your civilizations and mine. This enemy is not of your world, but it has walked these lands as your ancestors drew their first breaths.
The atmosphere had become thick with skepticism, the murmurs of disbelief echoing off the cold metallic walls of the conference chamber. The leaders exchanged furtive glances of expressions, ranging from cautious curiosity to outright dismissal. How could this being so human in appearance be anything more than a charlatan? The doubt was so palpable, it was as if a solid punch of disbelief threatened to undermine everything Yasir had come to reveal. A flicker of something dangerous flashed across the alien's face. His once serene and composed demeanor began to solidify into an expression of disdain. Had he traversed light years bending the very fabric of space and time only to confront such narrow-mindedness? The disbelief he faced wasn't born from the grandeur of his message, but from a more insidious source, prejudice. The leader's skepticism was unmistakably tied to their perception of his African appearance. This was more than an insult. It was a tragic failure to transcend their own limited grasp of the cosmos. Speaking past their doubt, Yasir continued.
There is an ancient story which originates in a sector of the universe you call Sirius. It is a tale of which a remnant of it exists even on this world. In the tri-system of Neph, there was the temple planet of Ptah, the home of the first men, the great first of creation who was said to have created all living beings in pairs, created the pairs as masculine and the other feminine. This was the way of all births until the coming of the destroyer of worlds, Zaharel-El, the wicked. The mother of Zaharel-El, called Khaleesi, was a woman whose masculine twin had died was soon to give birth to their children. Her pregnancy was a difficult one which caused her great pain as her birthing day drew near. What she couldn't have known was that the male twin she carried had overcome and destroyed its twin sister. And it was because of this that Zaharel-El developed deformed in the womb. The child wore the evilness of his deed for all the people to see, for when he was born, it shone well in the form of his physical grotesqueness. He was destined to bring misery to all. As it was in those times, the race of the first men would bring their newborn before the great Kayula. These were a sentient and wise race of bird-like beings that also inhabited the planet. Upon seeing the deformed child, the great Kaula proclaimed that it should be left to the wilderness to die, as it would surely grow up to cause mischief and bloodshed in the land. Yet against the wise counsel of the great Kaula, Khaleesi wouldn't give the child up to die, so running for the life of her child, she found a cave with a deep recess in which to hide them both. After a great deal of time had passed, the child now grown began dabbling in the sacred arts. One evening upon returning to the cave, Khaleesi found her son sitting by the fire creating strange biometal creatures. Turning his creation loose upon his mother, the creature he later called the Tokoloshe grew and multiplied. With his army of the damned, Zaharel-El conquered inhabitants of the world. For 1,000 of your Earth years, Zaharel-El and his Tokoloshes brought death and destruction across the galaxy, sparing none and subjugating all. Yet even in that dark time, a glimmer of hope emerged from the depths of that despair, and a spark of defiance rose up amongst the Thothians. These were a people who'd been long oppressed and bound by the iron grip of Zaharel-El's tyranny. It would be from a hidden temple called the Blue Temple, located on the tri-planet Bes, that arose a warrior, a grand master of the soul-sonic priesthood called Undal. Undal, standing tall and resolute, cast off the chains of his oppression and declared war. His call to arms ignited the flames of rebellion that swept across the stars. This rebellion gave birth to a stellar alliance. Countless worlds were bound by a shared purpose and an unyielding thirst for freedom. This alliance would inevitably lead to the end of the once seemingly invincible Zaharel-El Empire. With his future becoming ever more uncertain, the stakes growing higher and his empire crumbling, Zaharel-El, in a final, desperate act, attempted to tear the very fabric of existence as he attempted to use a weapon of his called the Death Tome. This weapon would cause the atoms and anti-atoms throughout the universe to unravel and disintegrate into nothingness. But the Grandmaster thwarted this attempt by focusing his will, uniting it with the soul-sonic force of the universe, and emitted a countertone, a melody so pure and powerful that it resonated with the core of all that existed. The two tones collided in a symphony of destruction and creation, a battle of wills and frequencies that shook the universe. With a final resounding note, the death tone shattered, its emerald substance collapsing into 1,000,000 fragments. Zaharel-El screamed in fury as his weapon failed him, and in that moment of weakness, Undal struck, not with brute force but with the harmony of the soul-sonic force. He neutralized the malevolent energy within Zaharel-El, ultimately paralyzing him. Undal knew that merely destroying the weapon wasn't enough. Zaharel-El's minions were still at large. He, with the aid of the allied planets, began subduing and rounding up the Tokoloshe. Undal, finding that the fragments of the Death Tome still held immense power, gathered and fashioned them into 3 emerald containers. Each container housed an entire dimension. It was in these containers that he interred Zaharel-El and all of the captured Tokoloshe for all eternity in what would become to be known as the Emerald Prisons. In his great wisdom, Undal hid each of the emerald prisons on uninhabited planets in undisclosed regions of the universe. If the prisons should ever need to be found, Undal fashioned 3 cubes made of the same material as each of the emerald prisons, which vibrated at the same frequencies as the respective prison container it was linked to. Each of these cubes would reveal the location of its respective prison, but only when united would they give the location of and act as a key to unlock the emerald prison that held Zahar-El. These 2 did he scattered about the universe in hopes of keeping the prison's location safe. As a final layer of security, he crafted special lenses which were attuned to the light waves of each one of the respective cubes so they could be found, and in turn the emerald prisons could be found. Eons passed, and the universe remained in relative peace throughout. That was until a rogue sect of the Bes-Eon priesthood stumbled upon an archaic instrument that could be used to open portals to forbidden realms of existence. In their ignorance and to their demise, the priests opened a short-lived portal to one of the emerald prisons and allowed a few of its inhabitants to escape. Killing the priest and finally destroying the planet, the freed Tokoloshe set out to find the emerald prison and loose its terrors upon the universe once again. The escaped Tokoloshe waged a merciless war throughout the universe in search of the 3 cubes. They eventually found 2 of the 3 and freed a great portion of their horde. Needing the 3rd cube to open the way for Zahar-El, they were on their way to Enkal, a planet rumored to have the key to finding the 3rd. Planet Enkal was the homeworld of the Nomo. For millennia, the Nomo had been the custodian of the key, and now they were its defender. The Tokoloshe, believing their salvation to be soon at hand, threw all they had at the Nomo's defenses. The slaughter was relentless and complete. Sensing the end, the elders sought to keep the key from falling into the hands of the Tokoloshe, so they agreed to send it off-world. Commissioned for the task was Captain Ahma of the starship Ujat and its crew. The Ujat narrowly escaped the Tokoloshe star fleet and took on heavy bombardment while attempting a quantum shift to take them away from their succumbing planet. Having sustained heavy damage, the quantum shift did not go as planned. The starship ended up countless light years off course, crash landing on a remote planet in an unknown solar system. That planet was this planet. So you see, this planet is home to one of the keys as well as the starship Ujat. I'm here to retrieve them both before the Tokoloshe that have returned to Uru find out the truth about this place and come back to wreak havoc upon this world. Do not be fooled. Some of you are descendants of the Tokoloshe that came here eons ago, and some of you are agents for the very same. Your secret orders have never been a secret to us, and now that I've come, I'm sure that they will be awakened and this world will be in extreme peril.
The world's leaders stood in stark silence as they tried to process what had just been revealed to them. Some of them reeling from the shock of hearing the implications of an alien origin, while others were stunned by the knowledge of an impending alien invasion. Nonetheless, Yasir needed to begin the extraction of the legendary starship Ujat, and time was running out. His cousin Aiden was already headed to the Tokoloshe's base planet to begin his attack. Yasir knew that he had to make it to him with both ships before he arrived, because if he didn't, his cousin surely wouldn't survive. No one noticed the pale, angry-looking man standing amongst the aides and representatives. His posture would have appeared rigid to anyone that would have been paying attention. His fists were so tightly clenched that blood trickled from the palms where he had dug into his flesh. He backed quietly from the room, turned, and headed down one of the many corridors leading from the Situation Room. Walking briskly and with purpose, he turned down a short hallway. Coming to the end of the hallway, he raised his hand, and a concealed door slid open. He quickly stepped inside, and the door closed abruptly behind him. His steely blue eyes betrayed the smoldering fire burning in his mind. Letting his eyes adjust to the low light of a room, which wasn't any larger than a broom closet, he took in its sparse contents. A small laptop computer sitting on a smaller table with a very uncomfortable chair sitting in front of it. Taking his seat, The man mumbled a barely audible word in some strange tongue, and the computer came to life. In the center of the screen was a white glyph of a fox head displayed on a red background. The glyph dissolved, being replaced by a password prompt, which the man quickly typed "Blood Fox" into, and the screen was replaced with the image of a hooded figure. The folds of the hood were too deep for the pale man to make out a face, but somehow he knew it would be a man. The pale man stared intently at the screen for a few moments before he typed but 3 words: "Initiate Purge Protocol." His finger hovered a mere centimeter above the enter button. He had but to press the button to send the message he'd been trained since puberty to send in the event the Dark Ones would come. Forget a nuke, he thought to himself. The pressing of this button will lead to more destruction than a nuclear armament could ever hope to cause. Press this button, and the world as he knew it would be over. His thoughts, a blinding point of contention, balanced between the reality of his humanity and the oath he swore long ago warred within him. Back and forth, the do or do not of it all seemed to make his head want to explode. Until, finally, the soft click of a keystroke being depressed was heard.
Yo, what y'all think of that chapter? Was it dope? Was y'all intrigued? Was you following along? Did it catch your interest? Was the music dope? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Turn the notification on so you know when I'm posting. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.